Shamima Begum is in a prison camp and in a legal limbo. She has been stripped of her British citizenship and denied the chance to fight her case in court. But with few options left, she has told us that she is now willing to face British investigators and do her time in a UK prison.
The government statement talks about having the right to strip people for over 100 years, but between 1948 and 71, nobody was stripped of citizenship at all, and then you had only 10 people up until 7/7 occurred. And the reason that it was so parsimoniously used was, A, the idea of citizenship was very important, and the government recognised that, but also because in order to strip somebody's citizenship prior to this, the government had to show that you were involved in a Guy Fawkes type attempt, really. You had to show that you were attacking the vital interests or national interests of the country.
The very fact of you and your friends as 15-year-olds joining the Islamic State, that was an endorsement of them. That was a propaganda victory for them. You helped them. You helped the enemy of Britain.
But I wasn't the one that put myself, I didn't want to be on the news at first. I know a lot of people, after they saw that me and my friends came, they actually encouraged them. Like I did hear, yeah, a lot of people were encouraged to come after I left, but I wasn't the one that put myself on the news. We didn't want to be on the news.
So here's your opportunity then to apologise to some of the people who were murdered by the group that you joined. Some of the British men, some of the women, some of the kids from Manchester who were killed in the Manchester arena. You must have heard about that attack. What did you think about that?
I was shocked, but
What?
I just couldn't. I didn't know about the kids actually, but yeah. I do feel that it's wrong that people, like innocent people did get killed. It's one thing to kill a soldier that is fighting you, it's self-defense, but to kill people like women and children, just like people, like the women and children in Baghuz that are being killed right now, unjustly by the bombings. It's a two-way thing, really, because women and children are being killed back in the Islamic State right now, and it's kind of retaliation.
What started as a fun night for thousands of young people excited to see their pop idol in concert turned into a nightmare for so many innocent families. When it was over, 22 dead.
You say you won't talk about an individual case, but we have allowed hundreds of former ISIS fighters back to the UK, hundreds of them. And it seems, even though you say you won't talk about one specific case, it does seem as if we're using Shamima Begum as an embodiment of what of our hatred of ISIS. But we have to acknowledge she is being treated as a special case.
That's not the case at all. There are a number of people, well over 100, and that's a public number of people that were stripped of their citizenship as a last resort to protect the UK. So she's not a particular case. She happens to be someone you're talking about now because you specifically had your team go out there and look for her, and that's fine. You can do that. But you could have also found others if you tried. So it would be wrong for you to suggest that it's a particular individual case.
Are 100 other people left stateless by being stripped of their citizenship?
Well, no one's left stateless because it will be against international law to leave anyone stateless. So there's not a single one of them are stateless.
Bangladesh does not claim Shamima Begum as one of its citizens.
Bangladesh can say what it's like. We follow the law in this country, including international law, and that's why, as I say, this decision itself was tested to the limit, to the highest court in the land, and they agreed with the decision that I made unanimously.
We saw some of the evidence that was passed across your desk that you saw because it was leaked to the newspapers, and there's no reason to think that what we read and what we read out during the interview wasn't the stuff that you read when you were making your decision. For example, allegations that she was seen by multiple witnesses stitching terrorists into their suicide vests in such a way that they couldn't ever get out of them until, or if they tried, they would detonate. There were specific witness statements which you saw. She totally denies that. She says it's completely made up. It's been made up in order to discredit her and to keep her out of the country. And she repeatedly denied ever doing any such thing. Are you fully confident that her denials on this programme this morning were false denials and that actually she did do the things that you read about in the evidence that you considered?
I'm not going to get into details of the case, but what I will say is that you certainly haven't seen what I saw.
So there was worse?
You haven't seen what I saw.
Okay.
So you maintain there is a national security risk?
And let me say this, I think if you did know what I knew, as I say, because you are sensible, responsible people, you would have made exactly the same decision. Of that, I have no doubt.
So Shamima Begum remains in a refugee camp, a holding camp in Syria,
indefinitely.
And that is her fate indefinitely.
The government continues to put the priority of the British people and to protect them as it's one of its #1 issues.